Things look pretty rough for EG right now.
Looks like Ori bought back in whatever big fight that they just won.
Okay.
So, wow, pretty much nobody on the side. EG actually, maybe Arteezy can have a buyback in just 500 gold.
Yeah.
So that is the only thing they got going for him, on top of the fact that Ori doesn't have buyback.
Yeah, just 2 buybacks, which is probably partly why Vici Gaming are playing a little bit safer.
They're going to need some sort of miracle team fight, it feels like.
Yeah, and they just don't have a team fight lineup at this point. Venom going for a right-click build, the DK just a bit underfarmed and underwhelming. Leshrac even more underfarmed, even more underwhelming. So things look pretty tough when you're against a lineup that has team fight specialists like the Omni Knight. Even Tusk feels like a way scarier team fighter than what EG have with his BKB piercing Disable. Lotus Orb, he's got Snowball, he's getting saved, so...
And they've got big level 25 counts, right? They've got the Fear picked up for the Queen of Pain off of the Scream, the extra 200 Purification heal. All right, well, Arteezy is going to be the one to initiate it on, and he did not get the gold for a buyback. So now he's dead for 90 seconds. He was 240 gold away.
That's tough. Very, very tough. No tower gold to take as well to kind of get in that 240 gold. It does look like they are going to ping out the top lane to try and force what they think is a Arteezy buyback, but they'll quickly find...
The Fly's going to try and make it happen.
Yeah. He wants that buyback money.
I'll go for the shrine for you. Dude, you got to right-click it.
Yeah.
You need Arteezy.
He doesn't have buyback as well, though. But yeah, he realized his life is less important than Arteezy's. He's getting this shrine gold for Arteezy.
But at the same time, the tier 3 is dropping fast, Fly. You need to kill the shrine faster. It's finally going to go down 9 gold away from the Venomancer. It's not going to happen. The fight's already going to break out. Vici Gaming, they jumped on S4. Coxico actually managed to get him outside of the cogs, and Crit starts limping himself away. Fly gets hit by the Sonic Note, but that's only one. Or he's going to die to Arteezy. With a buyback is successful, he's now going to try and find 11 in the back line, but Paparazzi's the big one with the Razor in the front line. Zero taking down 2 cores. Venomancer trying to slow him down, but he will eventually catch up to Crit, and if you're going to force tap away, he survives. They just need to be able to kite Arteezy as long as possible. The Bounty Hunter plus the Creep managed to get the Megas, while Paparazzi got the leash onto Arteezy. Didn't get the force tap or the shards, instead he goes into the enemy. A cacophony of disasters for Evil Geniuses, and that's pretty much the only way to talk about their very first series as a new team against Vici Gaming. Clean 2-0 for Vici.
This is a first pick Razor, while the Veno on paper was a good kind of counter pick for the Razor. Just didn't really feel like they were able to deal with him once he got this BKB up. He had the Omni behind him. Every fight he's getting a couple hundred damage stolen. He had 280 there in that last fight. And once EG just didn't kind of snowball the early game, it just felt like they just didn't have answers to the Vici Gaming team fight.
Yeah. I think the thing I took from this game is that I loved that Vici Gaming, you know, I hate when they play slow. It just bugs the hell out of me. But I think in both this game as well as the second game, it was very integral to their success, right? The first game, they just made sure to grow more and more the net worth lead. And then the second one, I think the fact that they didn't, like, they just took the farm that was being given to them from the lanes being pushed out. They didn't worry about the fact that EG was taking some of their neutrals and stuff. They just said, eventually we're going to get BKB, and we're going to get an Omni with Pipe and Mech. And we're going to have tons of sustain. We're going to beat them in fights.
They didn't feel panic. Yeah, there was at no point were they like trying to rush the game along. I think a lot of teams, if you have like if you pick a lamp that needs to push and take tower, you're in a bad position because all your lanes are shoved in. But they didn't really care. They were getting farmed. They knew eventually they would have the items, like you say. And once they got those, they fought well. They held high ground. I think EG rushed a few pushes. They picked off Razor twice in a row and then just lost at a high ground push. So I think for EG, there's definitely some stuff to learn from, particularly about dealing with the Bounty Hunter, which just feels like they didn't address. But all in all, Vici Gaming looking very solid. All
right. Well, 2-0 for Vici Gaming. That's it for the very first debut of Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, thank you, Capitalist and Gods. We'll come back to you for the winner's bracket match here for Group B. First series, though, here. Going the way of Vici Gaming, slow and methodical, slow and steady, according to the commentators. Kyle, EG, I mean, this was their first step. I know that we talked about their performance in the first game, but this was their first series, first showing as a roster.
Currently, this new roster of EG, it was hyped up, but so far, they haven't won a single game.
0 out of 2.
That's not
insane.
what I was going for with that.
No, I mean, this team's had a day or two to practice.
Yep.
I feel like this series came down to letting Bounty Hunter through. Second pick both games for Vici. Ori played Ember Quap playmaking. Vici didn't have any tower pressure in that last game. And if you remove the Bounty Hunter, I think EG takes it.
Okay.
And if they were to rematch in the decider match later today, you first 3-ban Bounty. And they got to find their identity. Fly third in net worth. That's not EG's strong suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was the period of the game here, too, where I thought EG had a decent game plan. I mean, the scary period in this game was always going to be between 15 and 25 minutes for EG. We talked about that during the draft. But the difference was they had all three Tier 1 towers down at the 15-minute mark, and it makes it much easier. But still, you saw at 22 minutes, Vici had those double BKBs on the Quap and Razor, and all of a sudden it went from a 0 to 10K gold lead for Vici Gaming in the space of 5 minutes because of the track kills and the tower income in Roshan.
Well, the biggest issue they have, the Venomancer is like the sole DPS source, and it's all magical. They have Repel, they have 2 BKBs, they have a Pipe. There's just no damage coming through at all because the DK is way too poor to deal damage, and the Lesher got shut down on lane too hard.
Yeah, and they like went this extra item. I really didn't like Sumail's Blink. I think if you get the armlet, you just go Shadowblade or BKB. Moment you buy Blink,
it's not a good combo.
It just, if you don't get that perfect initiation, especially with all the save on Vici, it just doesn't really do much for you. And I, again, just point to the Bounty Hunter. I think he killed the courier twice. Track gold, I'd love to see just how much bonus that gave Vici, but it feels like the Quap and Razor are a full item ahead. Like the AC on Quap, the Razor with an Ags, like it feels like these items are just paid for by track.
It's not just the cores. I mean, look at Tusk. Tusk is ahead of Leshrac. Tusk was ahead of Leshrac for basically this entire game when they start, as soon as they started taking fights in the mid-20s, and that's purely track.
Yeah. I think as a whole, they're playing all right on EG, but you can't beat the Vici and the LGD Bounty Hunter. I know Storm, you said they took a game off of the Vici Bounty at MBL.
It was Vici that did it, and they did it with this bizarre Bloodseeker-like in DK Tricore.
I think their decision not to ban it means they did not prioritize, like they didn't game plan for Bounty. And their openers in both games were pretty exposed by Bounty. Leshrac does not like to play against it, neither does Sand nor Furion. That was their opener both games, and it just feels like this Chinese 5 Bounty is way too good.
I think you're probably right. I think it's simpler just to ban it. I think they had a decent game plan here, and let's take all his Tier 1 towers. Let's make it harder for them to set up those pickoffs. But again, it's all about you make one mistake against the double BKB timing and track.
Yep.
But we gotta give some credit to EG too, right? They were 10K gold down, and they almost made a comeback happen.
Yeah.
Like they picked off Razor twice in a really very bad position, and well, ultimately, I think their draft just couldn't make it happen in the end, but they had like some really good plays in the mid game, even though they were really far behind.
I mean, they make it like 50 minutes into the game, so that's, there's something to say for that.
Yeah, they didn't really prioritize teamfight items either. There's like a Force Hex on the Furion, Maelstrom into BKB on Arteezy, but they didn't, like no one has any teamfight items. And you look at the lineup of Vici, they have the AC Shivas, they have a Lotus, they have a Mech, a Pipe, they have Greaves. It's just, at a certain point, you can't take them in a team fight. And the Dragonite gets linked, and all of a sudden his damage is moved. The Veno has a static, it's high damage, but it's very static. And they had, Bulldog and Black were memeing backstage about the ways you can live through Veno ulti. The Pipe, the Repel, the Snowball, et cetera, et cetera.
I think that's a big deal.
4,000 HP.
What do you think about the right-click build on Veno? I think this game it wasn't good at all.
I think
because as a Razor, you can never man-fight him.
Ags level 20.
Yeah,
and
you need it this game for sure.
He got like a bunch of 3 or 4 man ults off, but
there was just no damage.
Yeah, it's not enough.
All right, well, we are going to have a winner's interview, and I believe we have someone already waiting for us with Ori.
No sound, no sound.
All right, well, our Chinese lip reading is not very strong, so we decided to skip that one. But we hopefully have it working for the next one, as obviously the players are playing from their practice rooms in the hotel, and we are at the arena, so some miscommunication happening. All good, though. I feel like it's time for us to choose an MVP soon as well.
This game
Vici
is rough.
Gaming? It is. I mean, is it based on draft? Are you gonna credit the bounty hunter? Are you gonna credit Fenrir for this?
I mean, Fenrir played well.
I would give it to Ori, I think.
Yeah.
Ori, the Quap.
Yeah, and he played his job well. I point to once again, like the bounty is what allows the Quap to have the game. Like Ember, Quap, they both have weaknesses where you have to snowball, right?
Yeah.
And the bounty hunter means you can just play for kills. You don't need to ever take objectives, and he played great too.
So who are we going for?
I would go for Fenrir just for lack, because to me, none of the other four have the game that they did without the presence of the bounty hunter. It's kind of a cop-out, but I think it's the right
fair
answer.
enough, fair enough. Are we thinking, because with this win, and they are going up against Virtus Pro in the winners bracket finals, how are we feeling about Vici Gaming's chances there? Because they're showing right here, if you guys are saying like, oh, it was old bounty hunter, once you ban them, Vici Gaming,
I mean, there is precisely one team in the world that I like against VP right now, so.
That's fair enough.
LGD?
Yeah.
All right, well, we have chosen Ori instead.
Okay, that's fine.
So
I mean, he just played really well.
he did.
Yeah,
he
he
did.
I mean, so did Fenrir, but you know, there's only one MVP. So
No,
you did call him Ori Bori, though.
yeah, it's because
Oh.
of some certain things. No, like there was this one situation where he, in our like perspective,
Yeah.
could have just like blinked into the base, killed the DK,
Yeah.
and beat a full health because of the lifesteal talent, like spell lifesteal talent.
I-
But you know, he played us safe, so we called him Ori Bori. But
Yeah. I liked his item choice. I think the
Yes.
Chinese, LGD specifically, along with Vici, they have really good decisions. And he
Yeah.
went Orchid, BKB, AC, Lincolns with the spell block talent, which just got buffed from 20 to 15 seconds.
Yep.
So you're running his double Lincolns against DK. I mean,
Lincoln's is 13 seconds, right?
yeah, but the spell block
Yeah,
talent.
no, but
yeah.
so
It's
then
13,
13 and 15, right?
Yeah,
Which
it-
one procs first? Does
I
anyone know that?
believe the talent does, but
The
I
talent does?
actually no, the Lincoln's does. It's items prioritized and then the hero base. I'm
Right.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
I actually did not think about that though. That's a good point. I'm not sure how that mechanic works.
I'm not
It's the
sure
same
either.
as Race King, right? If he dies with an
You'd
Aegis.
want the talent.
His Aegis
block
gets burned
'cause it
first.
has the
No.
longer CD.
No?
No, his ult gets popped first.
His
Well,
ult
in
gets
that
popped
case-
first.
Gets
Yeah. His
popped
ult
first,
gets
yeah.
popped
yeah,
first.
so maybe I don't know.
Yeah, his ult gets popped first.
There's too many mechanics now.
Yeah, that's true.
I
With
mean,
all the
that's why we
talents, for
hired
sure.
you guys. Come on.
That's why.
I
That's
mean-
why Alan's
Okay,
here.
okay, honestly,
He's
for me,
supposed to have the stats.
I just hear excuses.
how often do you see the spell block talent? Usually, like 99% of my games, I always see the fear, just because it's like so strong. You blink in, you scream them, they all run away. Like for me, I feel it's like almost always a superior talent. But of course, in this game, the spell block was very
You guys, I might have spoken too soon, by the way. I said that maybe we're going to see Vici versus Virtus Pro, but that's not yet decided because TNC ended up winning game 2
We just
against
beat them.
Virtus Pro. We weren't aware of that result, so we have to wait for that third game to be played out to decide who's going to play against Vici Gaming in the upper bracket, because that is where we're at right now. We can take actually a look at the group and see what is happening. There are so many games going on at the
Yeah,
same
right.
time, you guys. It is unbelievable. We have Navi versus Newbie. When we left the room, it was actually looking like that also was going for a 1-1. Spirit versus Liquid was going for a 1-1.
But Liquid like decimated them in game 2 though. It was like,
Yes.
I think 18 minutes or something. It was really quick.
So you're saying TNC is in game 2?
Game 3
TNC
right now.
versus Virtus Pro.
Oh my
is a-
God! Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
And apparently Newbie Navi did end, and Newbie actually won that 2-0. So unfortunately, Navi had a good showing though. They were very close to
In
doing
the second
it.
game for sure.
Yeah, but let's take a look at Group A and see how they are doing. Here we go. So Newbie up 1 game, Navi down 1 game. That means that they are also waiting for their opponents. So Newbie will face the winner against of Team Liquid versus Spirit in the winners match. All that is, of course, on the secondary stream. There's 4 streams in total, you guys. But, you know, for the best action, it's normally in this channel because we are in Group B. And Group B is the best group.
Was the group of death for
At
sure.
least today.
Yes. At least today. Tomorrow we'll have 2 different groups. We'll have a different best
Oh
group.
yeah.
But yeah, as said, TNC Virtus Pro still have a game 3 to play. So Vici Gaming get a little bit of a break, and we get a little bit of a break as well, because we need to wait for that third game to end. So we will be back very soon. Well, I say very soon. We don't know how long it will take for VP or for TNC to be victorious, but we're going to find out. Stay tuned, and you'll find out when we'll be back.